Hey guys, so you have done the hard work now of writing the body of your paper. So we have some things that we need to do before we're done. So get excited, but not too excited yet. Today we're going to talk about considering your audience and who you are actually writing your paper for, of sorts, okay? So I want you to go back and look at the assignment that you were given. The paper had all four options on them, and you chose one of those four options. For some of you, your audience is going to be the school board, and this was an option one. You are writing to the school board. So think about if you were going to go to the school board meeting and present this paper to them, what would you need to sound like? Could you sound like you're talking to your friends in the hallway? You decide, okay? Option two was to write a letter to Mr. Stevens, to have a conversation with Mr. Stevens. Again, could you be informal as you would be with your friends? Do you need to be as formal as you might be with the school board? You decide, okay? Option three, again, same thing, school board, okay? And then option four is your community via the Mechanicsville Local. So this might hit any number of people. So how might you choose to write to your community at large, okay? Make sure you go back and look at which of the four options you are writing for so that you know kind of how to choose your words and how to set your tone when you're speaking to them, okay? It might be like me. So for instance, and this is kind of really informal, I might perhaps tell a kid to shut up. But I could also tell a kid, hey, could you be quiet? And those are asking the same thing, but I've chosen my words carefully based on who I might be addressing or how or why I might be addressing them. So consider that audience, okay? You want to think about too, what's most important to that audience? What's most important for the school board, okay? They might not be looking at just you. They have to consider all 10,000 students. I don't even know how many are in the county, but they have to consider all the students of the county, not just you, right? So Mr. Stevens, he might care about the elementary kids, but more importantly, he cares about what's going on here at Mechanicsville High School. Okay. One thing you want to do is to point out what's true. Okay, so you've got to address your counter arguments. We did this in your thesis statement. Although some people believe that tacos are the best food to eat on a Tuesday, I think it's actually pizza. Okay, so I announced the counter argument in my thesis, but now I need to kind of go back and look at the points I've chosen to argue and add some counter evidence in there as well. Okay, so one thing we want to do is make sure that we point out what's true. We want to acknowledge that yes, your counter argument has some validity. I get it, I see you. And then we continue on with our points. Okay, so for instance, of course you want your kids to be safe at all times. All good parents do. And the thought of giving your kids more freedom must be scary. But if you teach your kids how to make safe decisions and blah, 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 that's how I might transition into my body paragraph. I might open with that counter statement, right? Again, like the thesis, acknowledge it. Point out what's true. Yeah, I do. I understand. I want you to keep your kids safe, but more importantly, do this, okay? Another example, clearly adding more tables to our restaurant will make the sports space more crowded, and that might make it harder to walk through. It's possible this could cause spills and accidents, okay? This could happen. Still, this extra risk may be worth it if you consider, and maybe you go on to talk about the profit that you could earn by being able to seat more people at the table, okay? So I have done this. I've addressed both counter arguments, and something else to keep in mind is I've done it respectfully. I haven't been like, duh, yeah, you want your kids to be safe at all times, but that's stupid. Like, you should teach them to make safe decisions instead. okay? Remember, who are you talking to? Point out what's true, be respectful. So when do I address these? Okay, well, I mentioned once, hey, you may want to start your body paragraph by coming out and saying, doing it first thing, and then getting into your argument, okay? And so it's going to depend. So you can do that as you go, body paragraph by body paragraph. What is the biggest argument that somebody can make about that paragraph, okay? Or your other option is to do it all together at once. So to add a fourth body paragraph to your paper, okay? And so you can do it then as well and kind of take all the points that you said, okay, for this paragraph, somebody might say, this is the counter argument. For this one, they're going to say, this is the counter argument. This one, they're going to say, and address all of those in a fourth body paragraph. This is totally up to you whether or not you want to start a new body paragraph or do this at the beginning of each paragraph. Regardless, you have to address the counter arguments. Okay, that is a requirement for your essay. All right, so what's the next step, Ms. Drake? What do I need to do today? So what I want you to do today is to go back and look at those body paragraphs that you wrote, okay? First things first, what would your audience think about it? Who are you writing to, okay? Is your tone correct, okay? If it's not, let's go in and make some vocabulary choices or some sentence changes to bring that to the proper tone for either the school board, Mr. Stevens, or the community at large in the local, okay? Then I want you to look at the parts of your body paragraph that you think people are going to object to the most, okay? So if you're writing about cell phones in the classroom, for instance, what is a teacher's biggest complaint going to be about your argument? Hey, we could use these for educational games. What's a teacher going to say? Yeah, but you could also be using them for this instead. Okay, so you need to address that. When you do that, think about how are you going to respond to that argument when they say that. Okay, so rather than actually going in and making changes to your paper yet, I want you to use the comment feature in Google Docs. It's the little speech bubble that pops up. And go into, let's see, I think I can probably show this to you in if I open up a Google Doc here. Say I have pulled up my document for this. I'm pulling up your rubric for this paper. And I'm going to come in here and I want to say introduces precise knowledgeable claim, establishes significance of the claim. So I want to make a comment. So there are two ways to do this. There is this little bubble over here where I can click on it, or I can come up here to the toolbar and there's also that same bubble. But then I can be like, make this easier to understand. Okay, and then I would click comment and it's going to put that there for me. Okay, you're going to do this same thing, but using your paper, and you might highlight your claim, and in the chat bubble box, you're going to type in like the counterclaim to this might be, or people might argue that, blah, blah, blah. Okay, we're going to use these comments that you make today. We're going to use them tomorrow as we actually start creating a second draft of our body paper. So you've got that first draft done. I'm very proud of you. You should be proud of yourself. But we're going to start looking at things that we can add for our second draft. All right, that's all I've got to say. If you have questions, please see me during the class block so that we can get these comments done and you can get some editing onto your draft. Go do it. You got this.